Hi friends, Ashley here. You may know me as the wild fireweed. I am a mama of two sweet boys. I live here in Alaska, lifelong residents, both my husband and I. You can see some of our backyard out the window. It is currently January. Everything is frozen. We didn't get too heavy of a snowpack this year, but snow will still be here for quite a while. Our approximate last frost date, well, it's just mainly said not to plant anything out until after May 28th. So we have a very short grow period and I make every minute of it count, okay? I start everything inside in this kitchen right here with my little boys just at the table. And yeah, we start things either via indoor sowing or winter sowing. There's very few things that I actually direct sow outside because our season is so short. So without further ado, I'm not going to be retouching any of this. I'm probably going to fumble along with my words. But I have a seed haul. Actually, I have several seed hauls. So this is going to be a series, I guess. And I have more seeds coming yet. Last year, I really tried to make a solid effort with using up the seeds that I had so that I could be getting fresh this year, as I had been accumulating seeds for a few years and just had some random things that I knew really weren't going to work very well, hadn't worked very well for me in the past, and there were things that I wanted to try. But I'm not trying to be wasteful, so we went through those, and this spring is going to yield a lot of different varieties and a lot of the same that I've been using that have worked well for me. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm an open book. I love gardening, and it thrills me so much to share that love and that passion with anyone that I meet. Chances are, if you find me on the street, we're gonna find a way to bring up gardening because I truly believe that it is so incredibly healing and can help everybody. So without further ado, let's get into our first seed haul. I am on YouTube here. What else? Instagram. Instagram is where I have most of my base and where I have been sharing for the past 6 years, garden related content, and newly to Twitter. So we're new to YouTube and Twitter. You can find me on Instagram sharing our day-to-day, and we'll be filling out the content more with YouTube and TikTok. Did I say Twitter? Who knows? I might have. I'm not on Twitter. Anywho's, okay. Let's see. Let's start with one of my old standbys. As you can see, here's our seeds here. Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds is a company I've been purchasing from ever since I started sowing seeds indoors. So that's been about 8 years now. I love their product. I've always had really great germination, and they've always yielded something. So I love Baker Creek. They have a beautiful catalog that's free. They also have one that you can purchase. Their seed packets are gorgeous. That's one of their big selling points is their photographs. They have a lot of good information on there. Not everything that I would say that I would want, but most everything. And if it's not on here, chances are it is on the website as well. All right. Again, I'm in zone 4, which really all that means is that we have a really short grow season. You're probably going to hear the tip-tapping of our little puppy that we just got about 2 months ago. His name is Spud, and he is a French bulldog, and he is hyper. Okay, nasturtiums. Nasturtiums should be part of every garden. They are a completely edible plant, flower, foliage, completely edible. They're considered a trap crop, which means that they will draw in the bugs and pests that maybe you don't want on the rest of your plants. So aphids love these things, but they really, in my experience at least, let me know in the comments, create this community with your experience. But in my experience, the aphids really haven't bothered the nasturtiums too much. They still thrive, and they're very easy to collect and save seeds on, which if you don't allow the seeds to dry up, apparently you can use those as capers in your cooking delight. Their flowers and petals are peppery, that of arugula, and they come in all different shades of colors. So this is the black velvet. A dazzling dark cocoa color makes this a dramatic element for the garden or dinner plate. Plants stand 12 inches tall and are about as wide. An ideal size for containers as well as beds and borders. The piquant, I don't know how you pronounce that, petals and foliage are edible. It says to start indoors 4 to 8 weeks before last frost or sow outdoors after frost. Sow in fine, moist soil and cover lightly. So as you can see, there's a lot of really great information, especially that for a new gardener. A lot of really good information. For my area, so backstory, carry this with you throughout any future content, but I have a heated greenhouse and that makes a huge difference. Is it necessary to have a greenhouse in Alaska and still be able to grow things? No, but it is a season extender, which is so helpful. I also have a high tunnel and we have a good, I don't know how much square footage, but we have several areas where I have raised beds and I grow a lot of plants. If I were to buy these myself, it would be so expensive. Okay, so these are not frost hardy typically, so keep that in mind. And for me, my rule of thumb for my situation where I'm located, if you are in a warmer area, then you can stick with the instructions. But I usually err on as far as start time. If it says 4 to 8 weeks before last frost, I'm gonna be more on the 8 weeks is when I'm going to start them inside. So just to give them that bit of an extra start, because when you are past your frost date and you're wanting to start meddling in the garden, you want those flowers and you go to the nursery and all the flowers are ready. Well, that's because they start their seeds much earlier. So in order to get those blooms early, we're starting them early. We have another nasturtium. This one is the Purple Emperor. And I just thought that was so beautiful. So this one is 65 days to maturity in ideal situations. When you see 65 days to maturity, Alaska is not considered an ideal situation. We are typically longer. So if it says 65, depending on no sir. He's trying to eat the seed packets. If you see it says 65 days to maturity, it might be more like 75 days to maturity. This is a semi-trailing type. So what does that mean? Well, trailing is when they sprawl out over a basket. Compact or bush type habit is when it's gonna stay like this. Trailing is, you want to say hi to the people. Here is Spud. And he is a knucklehead. We'll see if he lets me finish this. I really hope he does. Maybe one of the boys will grab him and play with him. So when you're looking for varieties for your flower baskets, you want to look for that descriptor, that trailing or wave descriptor, because that means that it will spill out and give you that amazing effect. You are just not going to leave me alone. Okay. I was factoring my two boys who are being so good at the kitchen table behind the camera, being quiet. I was not factoring in Spud to be the attention stealer. Oh, hang on. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Thank you, Levi. I appreciate it. He about took the whole thing out. Okay, moving on. Nasturtiums, you want nasturtiums in your garden. Often you will see them orange, red, yellow. I really love the ones that have the white and green dual color foliage. Stunning. Next we have Snapdragon. So this one is the Orange Wonder Snapdragon. It looks to me like it has some orange and some pink variation. Snapdragons are a favorite. This is an amazing cut flower. They are cold hardy. You could start these via winter sowing. However, I like to really get these going early These are a 8 to 10 week sow inside. So for me, I'm probably gonna start them 12 weeks before my last frost, as opposed to the 8 to 10. And we'll get into that more. I could go on and on and on. These ones reach 2.5 to 3 feet tall. Can you imagine? Stunning. And again, great for a cut flower. There are dwarf versions of these that you'll often see at some of the big box stores like Walmart when they have their plants for sale. So keep in mind, look at the height. If you are wanting them for cut flower arrangements, then you want the taller variety. And these ones are exceptionally tall. This is a new variety to me that I have never grown. So that is the Orange Wonder. Okay, moving on to some Rudbeckia. This is the Sahara version, new to me. I have grown Rudbeckia and it has perennialized and come back. That was the Chimchimney variety from Floret Seeds, which I think Baker Creek now has a Chimchimney. It's been a little bit harder to track down. I've still honestly been working on the same seeds that I bought 5 years ago from Floret. So these ones take 100 days. So these are gonna bloom towards end of summer. And that's an important thing to think about when you are picking your flower varieties, is there are blooms that are gonna bloom, flowers that will bloom earlier in your summer, midsummer flowers, end of summer flowers. So you wanna make sure you have some of everything so that your garden continues to produce beautiful blooms all summer long. And I'm just really excited about these. These also make a great cut flower. They reach 20 to 22 inches tall, 2 to 3 inch blooms. Look at those. And that variation of color. So we're gonna see some burgundy, some yellows, some oranges, browns. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, petunias. These, if you're wanting to start petunias for your hanging baskets, these take a while. And this is where having trailing petunias, you're likely not gonna find the massive selection of petunias. Say if you go to a nursery and they have all the different colors. Typically, when you go to the big box stores, they have a very small selection. A lot of the petunias are copyrighted. So they don't just sell the seeds to all of them. I was really surprised by the selection that Baker Creek had. I've not noticed their selection before. I don't know if it's new to them or what, but these two varieties that I got are supposed to yield, one of them 5 to 7 inch blooms. Can you imagine? I can't. So excited. One thing I learned is that they're edible. And please correct me if I'm wrong, because I have, in all my research that I've done over edible flowers, I have never seen petunias lumped into that. So I wonder if it's just specifically these or if it's all petunias in general. I would typically not advise you to eat plants if you are buying them from a big box store, because you don't know what's been sprayed on them. You don't know how they've been grown. But if you're growing them yourself through organic practices, go for it. So where was it? Okay, so this one is the Superbissima Cosmic Cherry Petunia. Look at that. And it says, these mammoth blooms are bursting with cherry flavor. What? The flower heads have ruffled edges and reach a whopping 7 inches across. In a mix of magenta violet colors, this edible flower has a delicious cherry flavor that can be used in baking and homemade beverages, which is so exciting to me. I just had no idea. So these, again, say 8 to 10 weeks. I'm probably, for my situation, gonna err more on the 12-week side. And then the other variety I got was the Giant Alba Petunia. Massive white and pink tinged blooms with dramatically veined throats and heavily ruffled edges make Alba a standout in the garden. These compact plants, so there you go, compact, not trailing, so these are gonna be more mounding habit. Reach just 9 inches tall and 28 inches wide and are smothered in huge 5 to 7 inch blooms. It is extremely attractive to pollinators, so important. If you're having a vegetable garden, it's so important that you have flowers so that you have the pollinators to come pollinate your veggies too. And then you always want to pinch your petunias. There are some that do not require deadheading. I just err on what my grandma always told me. Pinch your petunias. Okay, moving on. Honeywort. So both those petunia varieties, I've never grown before. I haven't grown this either. Honeywort, which I got this for cut flowers. A recently rediscovered ancient flower grown in European gardens since the Middle Ages. They always have such a fun story and history behind them. A relative of borage, makes a great filler, irresistible to pollinators, which again, I'm all about. Let's bring in more pollinators. Look how lovely those are. They can be anywhere from a blue, fuchsia, to purple and everything in between. Baker Creek always gives you free seeds. This year I got 2 packets. I do have another Baker Creek order that I just made. So when it comes in, I'll make sure to share that. But we got some lettuce. Poppies are a great flower for up here in the north. If you have flowers that grow as far as native flowers here, then they're going to be great for winter sowing. And to save space under my lights, I'm going to try and winter sow as much of those that I can and save that precious real estate for more or less frost tolerant. So here we have the Hungarian blue bread seed. This is an edible bread seed poppy. So you have the edible kind and then the other kind of poppy. We're after the edible to save these for baking. They're really easy to save seeds, and their pods make for great filler in your bouquets as well. Here's another free seed packet that they sent. This is the Kamatsuna Old Tokyo. It's like a green of some sort. No, thank you, Spud. We're almost done. Spinach. This is a really fast growing crop, which I recommend if you are brand new to gardening. You want to get those fast growing crops. They can be done in a container. You don't need to start them in a greenhouse. You don't even need to start this indoors. You can start this by direct sowing. Get you some of that if you're a spinach person. I was not a fan of spinach until last year, and now I love it. Okay, we got some black peony poppies, which I have a whole idea that I plan on doing with these. I want to do a monochromatic little flower bed with all of this color. So I have a lot of varieties you'll see in these upcoming series of that particular dark black color. And that is it. That is it for Baker Creek Seeds. Thank you for being here. Check back for the next seed haul. I love growing and I want to show you what I'm doing. I want to teach you how to do it and I want to inspire you. If this has been helpful, if you're enjoying this, please feel free to follow, subscribe, whatever you need to do. And I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks. See you later.
You did a great